What is going on, Legionnaires? Welcome to At Week's End spoiler special for Argylle. Of course, we'll be talking movies, we'll be talking news, we'll be talking new comic spoilers. We'll be doing all of that. You have to do all that when you're counter programming, none other than the Super Bowl. Excited to get into all of that. Don't go anywhere. Let's hit that old school intro. How nostalgic is that?
I am the internet Jesus.
Yeah. Huge shout out to Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out at their website. You can follow them on their socials. They're doing big time stuff all the time. If you need anything cleaner press, you know Justin's Comics has got you covered. Let them know you found them via the channel. Link is in the description, as well as a link to the Facebook group for ABX Comics and Games, my local comic shop. They have a fantastic Facebook group where tabletop gaming, comics, paint groups, all kinds of stuff. I've recently reached out to take advantage of the paint group thing. I told Paul about this, but I got a really cool figure in that has plans beyond just being presented as it is. And I don't know why he's still backstage. What's up, TM Nerdy? I got a figure
on Marvel's bottom.
Yeah, Marvel's bottom. And I don't know how to paint for nothing. So I reached out to this paint group. I just dropped a comment on one of their posts in the ABX thing to ask if any of those kind folks do commissions. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to have to go over there and check on it. But saying hello to the people in the chat who are nice enough to grace us with their presence on Super Bowl Sunday. We have Las Crucias 1971. Nova Crimson, what is going on? Argylle sucked for me, and it's a shame because I really wanted to love it. Ooh-wee. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you didn't like about it and get into all that. I woke up for this. Oh, fantastic, Cliff. Very fantastic. Have you seen Argylle, Cliff? What's going on, Pops? El Green Machine is in the building. Las Crucias again. I didn't realize how late it was. I just came in to kill the time during halftime of the Taylor Bowl. Have they been showing Taylor Swift a lot?
A couple times they showed her. Not as much as they have in the past, but
okay. I haven't been watching it, but I've been told people are just like, oh, they haven't showed her yet. But I guess they did.
What a
they showed her more in the pregame stuff than they have during the game. So,
yeah, that is true. All the time away from the players is typically spent making money running ads, right? This is like their most profitable game of the year just for the ads alone.
$7 million or something for an ad.
For a short ad, I assume.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
Good gosh. Can you imagine that people still think that I wonder if it's gone up. You know what I mean? Like being that television viewing is going down versus streaming viewing and stuff like that. I wonder if ads are becoming cheaper for stuff versus what the Super Bowl ad would have been 15 years ago kind of thing, or 10 years ago before streaming. Definitely curious. But we're not going to waste too much time talking about the Super Bowl. Who's winning?
Right now, the San Francisco 49ers are winning 10-3.
That's a curveball. I know it's only halftime, but from the way I heard everyone talking, it was going to be I think Steve, a.k.a. Burt Family 54, said he was taking Kansas City 1,000,000-0.
Yeah, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
But but I think rational people were kind of like, it's going to be a fun game, but it's an obvious win for KC, just looking at the way that the two teams play. But I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see how it shakes out if there's a huge upset, score one for the underdogs or for whoever TM wants to win.
He's got a KC shirt on.
So. Yeah. Hopefully he has a 49er shirt just off screen. If it's looking like they're going to pull it off, just change shirts real quick.
Yeah, they've been saying they have what they're calling dynasty against destiny. And that is, KC can win their fourth Super Bowl or whatever against the guy who was basically picked last he was like the last guy picked on the schoolyard. He was drafted last in his draft.
Is that the quarterback?
That's their quarterback, yeah, Brock Purdy. So they actually have a name for the person who gets drafted last. It's called Mr. Irrelevant. And so he actually won that title, and now he's quarterbacking a Super Bowl team, a possible Super
How many
Bowl
years has he been playing now?
This is like his second or third year, I think. I think his second year.
Well, that's super impressive.
Yeah.
That's ridiculously impressive. That's definitely a true underdog story right there.
And so that's the Destiny part of Dynasty versus Destiny. So,
well, I hope in that case they pull it off. But I also hope that KC wins, because I know I got a lot of friends like KC. So I hope they both win. I hope that's how it ends, with a double victory.
That would be incredible if that happened. It would be it would be Super Bowl they would never forget.
I think it'd shock everybody.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get into it. There's a lot of news and announcements that have happened this week. Legitimate. It's been a huge week. And of course, the Deadpool trailer for the officially titled movie Deadpool and Wolverine dropped. New Planet of the Apes trailer dropped. We'll touch on some of that, but we're going to dive into some Argylle. I know that there's not a lot of people that's seen it. The box office numbers reflect that kind of for everything these days. It's unfortunate what's happening to theaters. I do like to say this as much as possible. Get out there, go see movies at your theaters. We are not going to have theaters if it continues at this rate. They cannot go on at this rate for another 3 years without tanking. Like they would die. Like
I went to go see it yesterday at about like 3 o'clock or so on a Saturday afternoon.
3 people in the room.
And it was shocked how little number of cars there were in the parking lot. It was just incredible.
Do you know offhand how many people were in your showing? Was it more than just you?
There was maybe 10 people total.
So me and the wife went and saw it Saturday evening. Saturday, no matter what's coming out, typically Saturdays are nights that people go to movies. Like people will show up to a movie without knowing what they're seeing and just see what's available at that time and go see movies. But now we went on a Saturday night at like 7:30, like prime time. And when we went, now there were a fair number of people in concession line, so spreading out, but this is a theater with 20 different screens in it. And we went to the only IMAX in there, and there was like probably between 15 to 20 people tops. So it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. In comparison, I went to it's a theater that I don't normally go to, but it happens to be the same theater that I saw Avengers Endgame in. And it was, when I went to see Avengers Endgame, I had to park so far away from the doors. It was amazing. And I had to sit at the end of a row because the entire theater was packed.
That's insane.
Yeah, I went opening night, and there was only 4 of us in that movie theater.
On a Friday night or a Thursday premiere?
This was Thursday.
That's crazy. I mean, Thursday, like I get like people going out, like premieres are fun. You know what I mean? Like I love going to the Thursday premiere if I can. And the only reason we did Saturday on this one is because of Kyle's schedule, you know. But it's crazy. It is absolutely nothing. It has not bounced back at all since the lockdown. It completely changed the dynamic. There's an entire like generation. I don't mean like a decade gap generation, but there's an entire small little generation pocket that thinks, yeah, we'll wait for it to stream. It'll be fine. They have no value in cinema anymore whatsoever, and they somehow judge movies like that they see on a streaming service for the first time, like you can judge on the silver screen. You can't.
Right.
So many people
Did
out of retirement.
Did anyone hang from upside down and come out of a little box there or something? Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I think Cat Williams is a big fan of Ludacris. She enjoyed the halftime show.
Good.
Like it wasn't the greatest.
Excellent.
He's clearly old now, but like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I appreciated him for bringing all them back around too. That he's always done like his hits with.
Stuffs with, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. You don't get it? That's an Usher joke.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Sink in. With Luda. Took her a second. Said he brought out Ludacris, started saying, yeah. Took her a second. There's Dirge. He said, my guy Ludacris was spitting at halftime.
Yeah.
My night's made. Much heart legends.
Yeah. He had more words than I think Usher did the entire movie.
What up, Eddie? Usher was too busy dancing. He can't dance, breathe, and sing anymore.
So
Yeah.
hard.
Oh, he ain't been in a leather jacket in a minute, I guess.
He did a lot of moves though.
That's dope.
A lot of moves.
I'm gonna have to go back and check it
Yeah.
out. Now, if you look at the Paramount app, I got to know. Oh, did you? Awesome. Yeah, they just compartmentalized it and boom. Hosted by Apple, and Paul pointed out you can't watch it on Apple. You have to watch it on Paramount. Trying to make some money back from Argylle. Because if you didn't know, Argylle is an Apple original. So that was something that was actually a shock to me when I sat down. Fantastic trailers for it. What's the one with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, where he's a stuntman, a remake of the old TV show Fall Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks amazing. The wife's
Yeah.
excited. We're going to see that on the big screen. Cannot wait. But this was my first time seeing the Godzilla Kong New Empire trailer on the big screen. Yo, that I've watched that trailer so many times on my phone. It's like crack for my kids. But seeing it on the big screen was a whole different experience. And then we get to Argylle and I see the light behind the apple. I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. Is this an Apple movie? And sure enough, it's an Apple original. So I believe this is the second one that they've done this with after having made some high budget original content for their app. They started sending them to the theater for a run before coming to their app to kind of get a little bit more money because as we've learned, streaming services are not financially feasible. It's just not. It's a different animal. So hopefully the fact that this was a movie made specifically for a streaming service that had a theatrical run, that'll help offset some of the cost expectations with its theatrical run. That was a mouthful. What say you?
Yeah, I before my first thought when you said that when you were talking was I wish I didn't have the Godzilla Kong trailer before my showing.
Oh man.
I had the Ghostbusters one.
I had the Ghostbusters one
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
we had that as well.
Was that was so good seeing that in the theater. I was like, yeah, I have to see this now in theaters. And we had Kung Fu Panda 4, which looked good as well.
I had that one.
I've never seen a single Kung Fu Panda movie.
Neither
Oh
have I.
man, they're so good. They're so good.
Although the Ghostbusters one, I really hope Bill Murray has a much bigger part because
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes. So getting into the movie, just not getting into all the details, just go through our grading scale. We always like to hit those on the front end. I'll go ahead and let you know now, man, as a Matthew Vaughn fan, I am a legitimate fan of his. This is a definitely biased experience for me. I've seen all of his movies, own all of his movies, love all of his movies. So I went in there with Matthew Vaughn goggles on. Like I knew what to expect with the style and the tone and all that. And he delivered everything I wanted in that aspect and more. This movie for me was solid green. Just fun from start to finish, stylized, funny, had that like date night aspect to it and everything. So for me, this movie was green, absolutely green. If you like Matthew Vaughn and you go in here, you get a Matthew Vaughn movie like you're supposed to, and I thought it nailed that.
I think I would give it probably 7.5 to 8 rings out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We were talking earlier today. Some of the things came out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? It was like, wow. There's some of the things I figured out as soon as they happened. Some of the things I thought I figured out and they were wrong, which was always good actually. So that was kind of nice. Yeah, I like Matthew Vaughn. I'm not as much into the whole tear gas thing with the colors and the everything, but then when he ended up doing the helicopter, it was like, okay, that's pretty funny. I gotta give him that. The whirly bird, whatever they call it, right?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. It's like, okay, when he's doing it with her, it was like, okay, that's pretty funny. But yeah, I was extremely surprised. I mean, I guess if I had a thought about it, it makes sense with the main character and how she was able to write all those things, but still when it happened, it was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
It's like you kind of like that makes total sense, and why didn't I think of that type of a thing?
Yeah. TM, where are you at on this one?
Orange.
We got an orange from TM Nerdy. Tell me more.
No.
Tell me more.
I'm just kidding.
I
would give it.
Yeah, that's damn near bottom tier score right there, my man.
Well, is that red at the bottom there?
Yeah, it goes red, orange, grello, and green. Those are all technical terms. That's why I branded it.
Yeah, I'll go red.
He used to work for Crayola in a previous life.
Yeah, funny enough, Dan Merle took that exact color code system and moved it over to his channel. He didn't see it here, but it's funny how I've been rocking that for like years now, and Dan Merle finally wanted something more specific and went with this exact color code system.
I started watching that guy recently. I know
he's
who you're
fantastic.
talking about.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He does shows with Christian Harloff sometimes, and John Roca.
Yeah, he used to be on on some kind of like joint effort movie podcast kind of thing, and went off on his own years ago.
Wasn't it called the Schmo
Screen
Show?
Junkies?
Oh, Screen Junkies. Yeah. I would give it just below Green. I'd give it a 7.5 as well. There are some scenes that were really goofy and that like over CGI'd a bit, but were still fun. But like they did kind of like the skating scene kind of it felt a little bit too long. It was fun to a point, and then it just stopped being fun. I was like, all right. But all in all, I love this movie.
Yeah, I can feel where they could have definitely they could have trimmed down just with just the slightest more editing. They could have taken this from like 2 hours and 12 minutes down to like an hour and 50 minutes, and I think it would have like serviced the pacing a lot more. For example, for me, hearing one person say it was a little too long. So, and I overwatch and I overread everything. You know what I mean? So right after the opening scene when she's at the book sign or the book premiere answering questions, I'm like, we're fielding literally one too many questions for the movie's sake. If you would have taken out one question, saved you 1 minute 37 seconds right there, that would have helped. Just with the
that's the thing though, that it was only that one scene that I had like it could have been cut down a little bit. Other than that, for the length of the movie, and everybody's just like, oh, it's a long movie, and that I didn't feel the 2.5 hours. They were 2 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't feel that. So it had me engaged the whole time. It was just that one scene. So that's why it's not like a perfect for me.
This may be the latest our host has been. I'm wondering if he's had the stream open before we went live, and like if you're sitting there waiting to go live, sometimes it won't turn on. I'm wondering if he's sitting there with it, waiting for it to go live, and it's not live yet.
That'd be funny because what's
funny is I was behind when we were in time, like for once I'm going to go right on time tonight.
Right.
Yeah, we this is the first time in history that I hit live when it said 3 seconds till show to compensate for the lag, so that we went live spot on time. But so getting into it, the whole plot of this movie is you have the primary character who's played by Bryce Dallas Howard, who is a book author, and she's writing stories, spy thrillers. It's a series. She's finishing up book 4 as the movie's opening, and she's writing them so well that it seems like she's pulling from reality almost, so much so that these secret agent entities are after her. You have one that wants her and wants to pretty much kill her because what she's writing is infringing on what they're doing, and then you have a sole agent or spy that's out to protect her, or so we think. Fantastic style to the movie with the whole Henry Cavill stuff and John Cena stuff. That's actually getting to visually see how the books are being presented on screen as they are in the pages of her book. It was pretty cool. And then we start doing like something that Matthew Vaughn is very, very, very creative at, and that's like camera work and edits. Creative camera work and edits have been something he's done since Kick-Ass. He does them heavily in Kingsman stuff, and he had a very unique thing to use in this with that whole dynamic of flip-flopping through Sam Rockwell, who's in the real world as a spy, and his counterpart Henry Cavill in the book world. So you're getting to see through, what was it, Ellie? What was her name? Emma.
No, Ellie Conway, right?
Ellie, yeah, you're getting to see through Ellie's eyes as Sam Rockwell's fighting, and it's just as she's blinking, it's flashing from one actor to the other, which I thought was pretty entertaining. Can be a little tricky in some scenes, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, like when he's falling out of the train, it was, and it's funny because every time they cut to Henry Cavill, he has that smug look on his face, like like I know exactly what I'm doing. These guys are nothing,
Then you have Sam Rockwell struggle bugging,
right,
but very confident with it, and he really steals the show with his charisma and his little brand of humor and smart aleckness. It was a breath of fresh air in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed the take. Like I feel like we definitely do need more Sam Rockwell led movies, and it's a shame that we haven't had those in a while. Like I mentioned before, Mr. Right was one of them with Anna Kendrick. But other than that, like we need to get this guy in more led movies. So go watch this movie and go rate it and enjoy it. Tell people to go watch it too after you watched it, so we can get more of Sam Rockwell. led movies, because all this is telling them is it's like, oh, he can't sell movies, even though he wasn't at the forefront of like the poster. We still need more of him. And I like Bryce Dallas Howard's role in this. How we're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, full spoilers.
Right. I like the twists and turns we've seen from her in this, from going from one being like that aloof kind of writer, shocked, not knowing what's going on, to that, oh, I'm the confident one, and I'm now a B with an itch, and I don't care about you, and then she's double playing it and becoming that character that she was in the first place. And yeah, I just liked her acting in this a lot.
Yes,
I didn't like when she went blonde. I did not like when she went blonde though.
Speaking on the plot twists in this, that was one of the most enjoyable parts of this movie, and why we kind of pushed it off a week to talk spoilers on it, because once you see it, you cannot watch it again under the same lenses, because something this movie excels at is being a very familiar story in a spy thriller where bad guys are coming, good guys protecting someone, then turning everything you expect on your head. They present you with something, you get used to something, and then they completely twist it. Like, first off, we get introduced to the bad guys, this whole underground division of spies, and that's what it's called, the division. We get to see them in, like, they have a lair, they have a whole setup, a whole window. It looks like oil just bubbles just floating up in it that Bryan Cranston's the lead of. We see Ellie calling home, talking to her mom on a personal level about her book, blah, blah, blah. In the midst of her running through her life through the movie, she doesn't trust anyone, the good guys, the bad guys. She calls her parents. She goes to meet up with them, and they plot twist us. Bryan Cranston is her dad, playing just the campy, sappy, stereotypical dad. And just for Sam Rockwell to come in, shoot her mom, knock her dad out, and then they get out of there. Like, plot twist, your dad is the head of the division. What is happening here? And it doesn't.
And her mother is British.
And her mother's British.
But yeah, there was like a whole, to your point, there was like the whole thing, like I was obviously the way they filmed it, and the way you could see her face, you knew she saw someone she recognized in the master file, right? But you got to figure out who it is, and when you finally when you finally told who it is, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I expected it to be Sam Rockwell.
Right,
I
exactly.
legitimately did. Like, they're gonna break our hearts. Like, after, like, the best spies is the one with the best lies, and he's been sitting here swooning her at this point, feeding her this, we were a couple, we were in love before you lost your memory. So that was the big twist. We figure out Sam Rockwell's character only has one ally, and it's a person by the name of Archie, which if you check the thumbnail, which I
thought it was Alfie.
Alfie, yeah, completely gapped on. There we go. If you were to check the thumbnail, that Alfie is the name of the cat that you see in the trailer that is the last person she loves or trusts and this and that. But it was actually a real character. It was a real person played by Samuel L. Jackson. She was bringing this memory over, because the whole thing of this movie was she wasn't writing books so close to reality because she did good research. She was an actual spy for the government that went to the division, and it went rogue, and she actually lost her memory in an injury event, and it was parts of her memories that were bleeding into her books. So the division were reading her books, waiting for her to reveal where she hid what's called the master file, basically the knock list for the division, all the active agents and all the evil shenanigans that they've been up to. Sam Rockwell wants it to out them, to prove that Alfie and him are not crazy, and to shut down the division. They want to get it before them, kill everyone, and keep operating without oversight from anybody for their own personal gains.
Right. And she's Argylle, so she's the Henry Cavill character. Sam Rockwell plays the John Cena character. So it's really kind of cool.
Where does a B fit on the color scale? So I would say that a B can fit on the lower tier of green, or the Grello to green in there. It's really, you have to ask yourself, Cliff, how do I feel today?
Right.
After watching that movie, do I feel green? Do I feel Grello? And then you tell me. Are you green or Grello, Cliff?
I don't know. He is feeling pretty sick today, so we might be green.
Might be green. So that was a huge reveal that she was Agent Argylle. Her real name is not Ellie Conway. Her real name was Rachel Kyle. Kyle on the
Right.
paperwork, and that's where her memory was not letting her forget herself. She had been manipulated after the injury. The division came in, Bryan Cranston and the Home Alone mom who played her mother. She was actually a doctor that worked in psychological research, and they MK Ultra'd her. They reprogrammed her to not remember old life, to be Ellie Conway, to have all these histories, and to be a writer, because they wanted her to take all of the knowledge that Rachel Kyle had, that Argylle had, and put it on paper so that they can get the information that was lost. They didn't want her to lose her memory. They didn't want her to get total recall. They wanted her to stay in that sweet spot so they can steal the Nautilus back from her and offer.
Yeah, and it's it's funny because the cat's name is Alfie, like you said, because it goes with Alfie was the Samuel L. Jackson character as well. I give it 5 bags of popcorn. It's nice. Okay.
And 2 sodas.
And 2 sodas. So
It sounds like it'd be $5.
yeah. And the division basically it actually operates out of this huge tanker, this huge oil tanker, which is where the oil comes from that TM was talking about earlier. It's just it was I loved it. You know, there were different twists and turns. I didn't get bothered by the number of twists and turns. I got depressed sometimes when I didn't figure them out, or when I thought there was something and then it turned out to be something else. But that's what a good thriller and mystery is supposed to do for you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the style, the stylized action is the best way to describe. Like, you'll see the trailer says from the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn, and in terms of that, he's not vulgar. It's not like anything like that. This was a heavy PG-13 movie. I'd say heavy because there's plenty of shooting and killing and stuff, and there might be one F word drop in there, kind of thing. The language is present. It's not excessive, but a twisted mind is in, like, you're going to see stuff that you don't expect. We're going to get to some wild, wacky stuff that only Matthew Vaughn would really think to put into a $200 million budget movie, which this was. And we get there finally at the end. I was telling Paul, I was ready for the most Matthew Vaughn thing ever. And the movie felt pretty grounded. It felt like a typical romantic comedy action film. We've seen a lot of those, Night and Day with Tom Cruise, The Killers with Ashton Kutcher. There's a lot of movies like that. Tons, and they're typically pretty fun. And this felt a lot like that to a big degree. A lot more dark humor, like him teaching her how to crush a man's head, lift, twist, stomp, and like her struggling with trying to do it while you just hear the fight in the background. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Looks up, everyone's dead but that guy.
Right.
Yeah, but we get to the end, to this magnificently long final act that all takes place on that tanker. Bryce Dallas Howard gets pretty much woken up. She seemingly kills Sam Rockwell, and it looks like she's all in working with the bad guys just to really show her hand that she was about to put out the Nautilus herself. It gets stopped. She ends back running for her life inside the tanker. Links back up with Sam Rockwell, where they kind of come to terms. She's like, "I didn't try to kill you. I wanted them to think you're dead so we can get away from you and not kill you." And they're stuck in an armory. The entire ship is onto them now. It's them against the entire division. And this is where the movie fired on all cylinders for me, where Paul felt it was a little extra. I've seen people's comments where they're like, that was just a little much. That's what I was there for. That's what I wanted, because you get this beautiful scene where the music kicks in, doors open, everyone starts firing indiscriminately toward the doors, and smoke bombs, pink, blue, red, smoke bombs come flying out, and they come out with gas masks on, thermal vision, and automatics, and they just start doing a ballet of carnage. And when I say ballet, I mean literally, literal ballet of carnage. It was.
Let me just be clear. I didn't dislike it, but to Tim's point, I think that was one of the scenes that went on a little bit too long. I think for me.
Yeah, the whole song.
Yeah.
The whole song.
Right.
All 3 verses, and I think an encore.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 per movie. I can't remember if it was in there or not. I think it was, though.
I also liked how she thought of the way to fake his death was because a fan wrote in a letter and said, "Oh, you should do this. If you shoot perfectly, it'll go right through a space between the heart,
called the vascular corridor."
Yeah, and it'll miss it." I never knew who that fan was. Then you come and you get another little reveal at the end. Oh, look, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, I thought of it because it happened to me. And
they were
like,
setting that little bring back up for a while. It's like you're waiting for it, but it was cool. We got a full MK Ultra moment at the end where the doctor kept messing, like straight Winter Soldier, putting the call signs out, activating Argylle and fighting Sam Rockwell. And he gets to the point where he's like, I'm not going to fight you, and she's just killing him. Right. She's just beating him to death. And luckily, help shows up, and it's their presumed dead partner from book 3 or in one of their earlier missions it looked like in the jungle. We saw that photo of them.
I think that was like the last mission before she lost her memory, and that at that point you realize, like, oh, because Dua Lipa's character is just like, oh, you're not just like we're working for the same person in that, and then kind of gave you a little bit of clue of like, oh, it's going to tie back to that later on too.
Yeah, the callbacks in the movie, the way that it was like woven together, like from beginning opening scene to end and everything, that was very well done. And I know a lot of people are like, it's too complicated, and I can understand that. If you're in there just like Johnny daydreaming or looking on your phone, you're not going to get like what they're doing here, because it's meant to be paid attention to, and he made this movie assuming you're watching it when he made it. That's for damn sure.
And also I want to say I'm sorry to all the people out there who thought Argylle was the cat. Sorry, it wasn't the cat.
I was one of them after the first movie trailer.
Right. But then we get to the very end, right? And suddenly we see a couple of huge things happen in the end, and then even after the end. At the very end, she's on her book tour. She's now written book 5, so she had book 5 out. And at every book tour she goes, they ask questions, and there's a question from the back, and there's a question actually that says, what happens to everybody, in the books afterwards. And so we get a resolution for all the different people, all the main characters. And then there's a question from the back, and this person stands up, and it's Henry Cavill.
With a 90s Superman haircut.
Right, exactly. With some chewing tobacco, it seemed like it was in his mouth.
Yeah, he had earrings in and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I don't have a question, but figured you might have some questions for me.
Right. So that was, yeah, exactly. So that was obviously going to set up a second movie, it seems like, as well as what happens during the credits, but I won't.
Yeah, so this is where it really sells it. So I like, despite it not being a packed theater, I was in a theater with legitimate people excited about watching it. People were popping in this movie. We were laughing when we were supposed to laugh, like kind of cheering at certain scenes. Like when she whirly birded Sam Rockwell, we all cheered. We were all like, yes! It was hilarious. It was awesome. It felt like a payoff that we didn't even know we deserved. And then when they showed Sam Rockwell, or when they showed Henry Cavill at the end, that Argylle wasn't just her in the book, apparently, that there's more to that. There's more hidden in her mind that was unfolding in the pages. It wasn't that simple, that he's a real person in the real world. He must have something to do with their spy stuff, obviously, for her to have the memories of him, to view like her capabilities visually as this guy kind of thing. And we kind of get a clue to it in the after credits. And throughout the movie, there were things that tipped me off, that not just me, the people sitting around me. If y'all know me, if y'all have met me in public, I talk to people. I'm not shy. And like we're sitting there watching this movie. There's certain things, the way that the division looks, the way that scene with the smoke bombs was, the ice skating scene, which she was an ice skater, and there's a scene where they're trapped down in the oil tanker and oil is leaked everywhere. So she takes blades and stabs them on her boots, and she's the only one that can move in the room, and she goes through it slaughtering everybody who can't stand up. And it does go for a while, but it was majestic in my eyes. But after the credits, it cuts to a little pub. It looks a little older. It's a pub, and at the top of the pub it says the Kingsmen. Yeah. And everybody in that theater screamed, "Yes, I effing knew it. I knew it." This wasn't just an Argylle movie. This was literally Kingsman 4. This movie is the 4th installment.
But that also is just like, well, okay, then you have the same guy with 2 different characters in the movies.
Sam Jackson can play as many characters as he wants. I ain't trying to hear none of that. I'm Team Sam. Like, come on with it. Johnny Storm, Captain America. That's the same universe.
Right, exactly.
Well, now it is.
It's
going to
fine.
be.
Yeah, now it is after the trailer. Yes.
I read that actually.
Who's another one? Idris Elba's played 2 Marvel characters alone.
Yep.
He played Monroe in Ghost Rider, and he played Heimdall in Thor. You have Jaimin Hansu, who's played like 37 characters in DC and Marvel both. Who cares? It's but super cool is we go into the Kingsman's pub and you see a young man come walking up and pretty much say something that's a call, and the guy is a bartender who kind of resembled Ralph Fiennes to me in a way. Like I'm looking at him, so I was like, is that supposed to be Ralph Fiennes? Like after Kingsman, did he set up a pub? He was the first one. We learned that in the 3rd installment, The King's Man, and he pulls a box out from under the bar and sets it up there and slides it over to this gentleman, and he opens the box and it has a gun in it, and it's none other than a young Henry Cavill in the Kingsman's pub, like pretty much starting his journey. So, and
his name is Argylle.
And his name is Argylle. They confirmed that he is Argylle.
So guess what, guys? We lied to you at the first. It was we were bringing you into it, and that it was a
triple fake.
We're gonna make you look this way and say, oh no, Bryce Dallas Howard was the Argylle that we know, but now we're at the end and we're telling you it was Henry Cavill.
So through the movie, they make you think Sam Rockwell's character is Argylle as she's seeing him interchange in the fights. Then we get revealed that Rachel Kyle is Argylle. Then we get the actual reveal that Argylle is Argylle. Like, whoa, what? So talk about, there's levels to this. So excited, so hyped. What's crazy is just how fun these franchises are. Like, we're in the Mark Miller universe. And I got to tell y'all, that was another one of my big clues. Like when it starts, I'm like, I know Matthew Vaughn works with Mark Miller on all this stuff, but why is this movie produced by Marv?
Right.
And you see the dice roll, I'm like, well, I guess, he does do film and TV now. So like, maybe he's just like investing in it to produce. Nope. We're in his universe. We're in the Miller world, people. Let's go.
And also Matthew Vaughn, it was just interviewed a while ago from Coy over at Real Rejects. And he admitted like there is going to be another Kingsman. There is going to be another Kick-Ass movie coming. So we're
the Kingsman movie is already titled. Even it's Blue something. See if I can find it.
So I didn't even know we were getting another
Kingsman: The Blue Blood is what it's called. It was initially set for a 2023 release, but stuff like that goes.
Strikes and stuff too.
Yeah, Kingsman: The Blue Blood. It has Taron Egerton. So hopefully they use Blue Blood to, like, if we don't get Sam Rockwell in it, like, what are we even doing? You know what I mean? Like, we need Rachel Kyle in there. We need, like, I just wanted. Now I'm just really excited because you have the Statesman in America, you have the Kingsman in England, and we went to Italy in this one, and that was a big tell. Archie, is that his name?
Alfie.
Sam Jackson. Alfie, Sam Jackson's character, his entire base of operation is on a vineyard. So like, this is it's all there. It's an absolute Kingsman movie from start to finish, and we just focus on like a little side thing that happened with one of these spy agents along the way. So cannot wait to see what they do with this. I hope to God that they do another installment focusing just on these characters. And I just want to see some little things here and there in Blue Blood. But I want this story to really continue to expand and develop in the Argylle franchise. I want them to have like two running things kind of deal,
Definitely worth their full 2 hours and 20 minutes. Definitely worth the entire.
Yeah,
except for the scenes that me and Paul mentioned.
No. Only got to cut out a couple minutes. That's all.
Which are arguably my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was biased going into this one, completely biased going into it. Yeah, and even watching this, if for the people that are watching now who haven't seen Argylle, for the people that might catch us on the rewind, I promise you, we barely scratched the surface of this film with the comedy hits, the actual plot, and like the way that, like, because it plays out like a spy thriller. It's like a mystery, and you have to get the pieces along the way. And watching these characters interact is very, very wild and unique. And watching the opening scene that starts out with Henry Cavill in Greece talking to the Dua Lipa character and driving the car down all the buildings and sliding and crashing the whole way, like, it really shows you just how wild this movie is going to be before it kind of normalizes, kind of levels out through a standard action movie just to get an even bigger finale at the end. But it was dope. It was definitely dope. I definitely suggest people checking this one out on the big screen. Even if you go to a $5 Tuesday movie, if you're a Regal Rewards monthly member and you get 2 free movies a month, go use it on one of those. It's a blast. All right, I want to shift gears and touch on some of the new stuff that we have going on, because there's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot. I don't know if we'll even.
Before that, guys, touch on like one spy kind of TV show that recently came out that is absolutely fantastic. Is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you guys have not watched that, definitely do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's been a fun, wild ride with these characters, and it's a different twist than the Brangelina movie that came out years ago.
And this is an Amazon exclusive. It's starring Donald Glover and
someone else.
Shout out to someone else.
Cliff looks like he likes it because he's yelling right in the chat right now.
I finally watched it, Travis, is what he said.
Yeah. No, it's I forget her name. She's great though. She was most notably known for her role in Pen 15, which I didn't watch, so this is my introduction to her, and she's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's a pretty good show.
Thank you, Clifford. Cliff says Maya Erikstein. Berenstein, not Bernstein.
Yeah.
Now he's yelling it at us again. Thank you for yelling. Love you, Cliff. First thing that I kind of want to bring up and touch on is super relevant, being that tonight is the Super Bowl, and being that I mentioned that none of these streaming services are profitable. It looks like we got our first look at a potential shift in dynamics. These streaming services are trying all kinds of stuff, from Disney and Hulu merging to cracking down on password sharing on other platforms, raising prices. But something that Paul shared is Fox, Warner Brothers Discovery, Disney, all teaming up on a sports streaming joint venture.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that article, Paul?
I did.
So
it's supposed to come later this year, probably in the fall. Basically, what they're doing is they're kind of finding out that they really can't kind of survive on their own. So what they're doing is, you're going to get the best of ESPN. You're going to get the TBS and the TNT sports. You're going to get the Fox Sports. So you'll get FS1, ESPN, all those good things as well. So it will have basically all of the major sports you'll be able to see on there. Again, not every game, because like CBS has some of the games of the NFL, but you'll be able to see games that are on Fox, that are on ESPN for the NFL. You'll be able to see the NHL games that are there. It's kind of separate. It's going to be separate from ESPN Plus, from what I understand. But yeah, they're basically, saying, what, they're hoping that there's profitability and strength. So they're kind of, merging, different things, and, who knows what it could lead to down the road.
Now, why does this sports venture matter on a comic book show? Well, because these are the same people that bring us our comic content and all of our regular movie content on their own platforms. It's been such an experimental past couple of years with streaming services, with everybody kind of branching out, doing their own thing individually. We went from cable, where you paid one person, one price for what you wanted, and now everyone is separate, doing their own thing. And now we're seeing what it looks like for some of these to cross over, and like, it just makes you wonder, like, is it just going to eventually be like you just give us $150 and we'll give you access to all of our stuff on one platform. You can kind of do that now through Amazon. You can go on Amazon, get a Amazon video account, and just start adding the stuff right there, so you can watch it all from Amazon. It's just in your library.
I have Roku, and I have like all the different apps. Everything I want is on Roku. So
yeah, and see what I do. I have to open each individual app that I want to watch different stuff. And when I wonder what app this is playing on, I go into my Google TV and search it to see where it's at. Then I'm like, Kyle, it's playing on this one, and she's like, okay. But it would be easier just to have it all under one. But it's like just kind of like, it just makes me think we're just going to move back to like what cable was, but just on a digital front and not owned by a cable company. No middleman.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna instead of paying the cable company, you're gonna have to pay one fee probably. Like I had to pay one fee to buy the Roku, stick or whatever, But then you'll pay the individual apps instead. So it kind of is, in some ways, it's kind of more, it's a la carte, basically. It's a la carte cable. You're going to pay for the ones that you want, and you're not going to, if you don't want to watch Lifetime, you don't have to get Lifetime. I'm just picking Lifetime. I have nothing against Lifetime.
Yeah, I want to watch Lifetime, Paul.
Yeah, you're free to do that.
Thank you.
So you'll be able to pick and choose the ones that you want, and you pay for those, and instead of going to a cable company, you basically just. And the other good thing though about that too is, although. Well, actually, no, you wouldn't even have to do that. I'm going to say, because what happens with the cable companies is they charge you $100, let's say, for cable, and 50 cents of that goes to ESPN for them to have ESPN on their cable, and 50 cents of it goes to Universal to have NBC or whatever it happens to be. Since you're going to be paying the companies directly instead, those things where you get those nasty things at the bottom that says Roku is threatening to take, ABC off the air. You shouldn't get that anymore because you'll be streaming everything, and there won't be those carrier fees anymore because you'll just be paying the companies directly instead.
We're going to get you to like Lifetime movies one way or another, Paul. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and of course, a lot of this stuff is interesting to me, how these big corporations operate, how these streaming services are coming along. It's the way that we get our media. So the things that are, in a sense, helping media be made, as well as hurting other aspects of industries that I enjoy. So it's interesting to see how it all plays out. I just hope to God they would figure out that we have to push movies back very, very far, very, very far. Movies should not come to theaters. Then no one should ever say, it'll be on streaming soon. That shouldn't be a thing. There should be like a natural understanding in your mind, like, oh, that looks cool. Well, I guess I can see it on streaming in a year. Like legit. Like it shouldn't be any sooner than like a year to get it out there. Yeah. Like put it out for physical media sale, which I think they're learning their lesson about how reducing physical media has actually harmed them greatly. It's cost next to nothing to produce physical media for these big companies.
Right.
But
yeah,
weird.
Disney actually had a lot of news this week because it was their earnings call was this week.
Yeah, one of the big things that actually shocked me coming out of the earnings call is that Bob Iger announced that they're investing $1.5 billion into like a superhero metaverse kind of thing. I don't understand how this stuff works. All I know is they're trying to make some kind of connected video game verse, and it's going to cost them $1.5 billion to do it. The timing with that was actually paired with something else, but I'll touch on the timing of what came after the earnings call if y'all got any more earnings call news.
Just that they announced a couple of movies again, and they announced a surprise Moana 3 is coming out in the fall. Moana 2 is coming out in the fall.
Moana is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. I love that.
Kind of, they had to have been pretty far into for it to be coming out in the fall. They had to have been. They really kept that under wraps for a long time because it takes a while to make those movies.
Well, it's been talked about. It's been confirmed, but for whatever reason, she doesn't have the traction and the juice that a lot of Moana's what I consider newer. There's going to be plenty of like 20-year-olds are like, oh, I watched that when I was a kid, but I consider it newer kind of thing. Right. So it just doesn't have the pizzazz of like we're making Aladdin again, or we're going to redo Snow White, the original.
Right. And they're going to do a Moana live action, which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to also star in.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all. I get people being excited for. I enjoy the live action adaptations. I know a lot of people are like, oh, leave the cartoon alone. Well, this is a completely different medium. Like,
Yeah.
watch the cartoon if you like the cartoon. This has nothing to. This isn't a sequel to the cartoon. It doesn't change the cartoon. That's its own storyline. You know, like Little Mermaid has like there's 3 of them. Like most people don't even know that there's like 3 legitimate Little Mermaid cartoons. That was like the format. You know, you get
it's funny
big
that
screen
people
and-
complain. They're like, oh, they're changing the character and that. Well, the original story, if you read it, it's totally different from the cartoons. They have already changed the character.
Yeah, most of the Disney stuff is where they took advantage of public domain, grim fairy tale stuff and made them lighthearted, whimsical stuff for children. But in terms of like Little Mermaid, like there is a Little Mermaid like a saga in cartoon format. You know, there's an Aladdin saga in cartoon format. The new movie is them attempting to make another successful version of it, and they're going to either succeed at it or not. Most of the time they fail at it, but sometimes they hit. Like I love the Aladdin one. I enjoy the Lion King a lot, but other than that, I don't think any of them really did it for me. Like the Pinocchio one, I didn't even have any interest in watching, but I loved the cartoon.
Right.
It just didn't.
Right.
Lady
They
and
also
the Tramp
announced.
thing.
They also announced. I think it was Toy Story 5. They announced Frozen 3 and 4. They announced
Oh, that makes sense.
Zootopia 2, and James Cameron said that he had ideas for Avatar 6 and 7, although he would not be directing it. He said probably.
Yep. There's a huge announcement for Avatar 3 and 4, which if you follow Avatar news, you know that they actually finished filming Avatar 3 and 4 when they did Avatar 2. The budget for Avatar 2 is actually a budget. When people say it's got to make over $1 billion to even hit profit. Well, yeah, that's because they made 3 films at once with one budget, and everything else has been post-production and all kinds of other stuff that has the technical inventive aspect of what James Cameron does. So when Avatar 2 releases, it's releasing to straight profit. If you're the only person who goes out there and buys a ticket for Avatar 2, they just made money on that film. That is insane. But we got a little update on that. I know that they were talking about potentially doing Avatar content for Disney Plus. Hope to God that they don't. One of the best things about Avatar is the small amount that we get. It leaves so much to be desired, and I think that is crucial in successful franchises. We've gotten the whole like we get so much content these days. We should just be happy. No, the oversaturation is killing quality in everything. But I hope that they take their time with this and deliver some fantastic stuff. But it was a big earnings call, like big. It was very advantageous of the company based off where they were standing, which segues us into what's going on behind the scenes at Disney, which we talked about it 2 weeks ago. How I pointed out the investment firm led by Nelson Peltz kind of came out publicly saying that they wanted a couple of board seats. Bob Iger and the board ended up convening, saying we don't want these people on the board because part of these people is Ike Perlmutter, who is they don't like him. They kicked him out. He kept all of his shares, but they kicked him out because they got to the point where it was an echo chamber and he was the only person not echoing. So they got rid of him. And that's one thing that's not good for any company is everyone just saying, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. You need conflict of ideas. You need people challenging each other to see how creative you can get together. And they don't have that at Disney right now. And we called it. We freaking called it. I said they denied him at the board. He's going to go over the board's head. And it was confirmed this week. It went public that in the last week since we talked about that, Ike, Nelson, and their nearly $3 billion worth of shares went straight to the shareholders.
Yep.
Straight to the shareholders. And they waited. They waited till 2 days after the earnings call. Waited till 2 days after the shareholders had an opportunity to see what Disney planned on spending their money on and to think, like, so all the shareholders are thinking, this is a good idea, or how does this make sense? At the exact same time, in walk these people with all this money saying, we want more board seats now. So they're not even fighting for what they initially asked for. They're coming in saying, you see this stupid crap that they just announced? You see what they're doing? We want more board seats. So it's getting even more interesting, but it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. It's like it's watching a soap opera with my mom, but on the internet in the form of articles. I want to make a gay Hallmark channel. I want Mark to narrate story after story of how, what's the name? Grindr hookup magically turned into open relationships.
Grinder.
Okay. I know what grinder is. I wasn't familiar with that spelling. Magically turned into open relationships. I can do that for you, Cliff. But I would also argue that gay Hallmark, you could just call it Hallmark and it already exists.
Oh man,
You know what movie you know what animation they need to like remake into a live action? The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It reminds me like the Universal Monster movie and Hunchback of like the 1930s. That was one of the most grotesque movies I've ever seen. The silent film version, you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
I don't think it was Universal that did it.
Some of those silent ones are more scary. Do you ever see the Nosferatu?
Of course,
That
Nosferatu.
guy is much more scary than anything that's been on a movie theater since.
And you've seen the movie from the 90s starring Willem Dafoe about the making of the original Nosferatu?
No.
Where it's like he was it wasn't a man in makeup kind of thing, and there was something about him. There was a guy they found, and it's a fictional film, just adding fake context to the making of Nosferatu. It's really cool. Forget the name of it. Shadow of Vampire. There it is. That is it. Shadow of the Vampire. Yeah, really, really good stuff. But in other news, Deadpool trailer looked fantastic.
Absolutely.
The official name, we've been told Deadpool 3 is coming. They got us. Official working title of the new Deadpool movie is Deadpool and Wolverine. We see the plot kind of like the TVA comes and gets Wade from his home, and they take him and show him that this whole other universe exists, shows him the MCU on the TVA screens, and then he sets out on Carnage. It was a proper first trailer. You don't get much story context other than that, but you just see him lock, stocked, and ready to rock. It looked awesome.
He is the Marvel Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah,
and what's funny is the Nosferatu movie that's coming later this year is by the same director who did like The Witch and The Northerner and Lighthouse, and Willem Dafoe is playing Van Helsing in it.
Oh, wow.
The guy's just eternally attached to Nosferatu, and it's really cool.
So the guy sitting with Wade and that kind of doing the whole Mobius thing is Mobius in the future in the comics.
Oh, wow.
And his name is Mr. Paradox.
Yeah, it did look like the silver screen budget really polished up the TVA and their outfits, didn't it? Yeah, it was pretty cool.
There's a lot of great. There's a lot of great little Easter eggs. Like when he's laying on the ground, there's a Secret Wars comic book laying beside him.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Little cool pickup. Pyro's in it from the X-Men movies from the original.
And there's a character sitting next to Pyro who I couldn't pin who it was. It's wearing a mask that you see in another scene, like move their arm and the whole like mechanical satellite looking dish comes up. I didn't see Cable in the trailer, which was a letdown. We did see Colossus. Like, dude, they better bring Cable back. I know like he had a proper arc in that last movie, but how are you going to do Deadpool again without Cable? And I know you might not want to like overshine or detract from Wolverine being in it, but still, like if Cable, like Deadpool and Cable is more of a thing than Deadpool and Wolverine in my book. And I love Cable. Like, I love me some Cable. Josh Brolin killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it as Cable.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's nice that he wasn't in there. I know a lot of people, the guy that you're talking about, like the mechanical thing came around, like the big, like kind of satellite. People are like, oh, it's what's his name? It's Doctor Doom, and I was like, no, it's I don't think it's Doctor Doom. But
They had Bob from Deadpool too. Yeah, he was around the family table. He survived. Have Cable fight Thanos. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah, they're gonna throw everything in the kitchen sink at this. Like, man, this is one of those things that man, the internet is vicious. No matter how much you would want to avoid knowing about this movie kind of thing, there's so much that has been put out there, so much so that Ryan Reynolds did like a little small campaign for a week where he like photoshopped fake stuff just to put out there so like it could poison the internet and you won't know what's real or fake. But so many people on set for that movie are pieces of crap, just photographing and putting everything out there. But there's a lot that I'm aware of that I'm really, really excited for.
Did you notice who didn't show up in the trailer? Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
And you know who's losing tonight? The Chiefs. All coincidence? No, it was rigged.
They're not losing anymore.
Oh, they're winning?
13-10. They're winning right now.
Spoiler alert.
Speaking of
Paul.
that,
This is an Argylle spoiler show, not a Super Bowl spoiler show.
Before I forget, I read something today about you were talking about there was a spoiler from Captain America 4 and a jacket that someone had from Captain America 4.
Elaborate.
It was a jacket from Captain America 4. It had Captain America's shield on the jacket, and around Captain America's shield was the hand of the Red Hulk.
So yeah, we know he's coming in the Thunderbolts. Yeah.
Yeah. Will he show up in the Captain America in? Can't remember what it called now.
Brave New World.
Brave New World.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm so excited for that, man. Right. Anthony Mackie is just one of those people who's just charming to watch in everything he does, even when he's being serious or whatever. He just cut the check.
Well, we're definitely getting Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross in that movie, so maybe he does do his whole red hulking out in that movie too.
Eesh.
Yep. I do have one other thing that Cliff's not gonna like. I can't say that. But Percy Jackson is renewed for season 2.
Right.
And they're going to have to find a replacement for Zeus because it was played by none other than Lance Riddick, who sadly passed away.
He passed away, yeah.
So he played Zeus, which he dominated that role. That guy just needs to look the right way at you, and it causes you to shiver down your spine. So they're saying like they're going to recast, but they're not in talks about it right now. They're going to let it settle for right now. But I like the show. I agree with Cliff, sadly, that it does not have stakes. You don't feel like these people are in danger at all. But what it does do is it gives you a good adventure to go on, and it was a fun ride. Seeing like some of these characters redone in a different type of story. If you like the movie, you probably like this, but
it's also the author Rick Riordan, I'm probably gonna Riordan, whatever his name is. He's much more involved in the series than he was in the movie, so it's supposed to be much closer to the books.
So this isn't a continuation from the films that aren't too old. This is just a start over TV show.
Exactly. Yep.
There you go. That answers that. Kind of piggybacking on the Red Hulk conversation that we all know he's supposed to be appearing in the Thunderbolts movie that's coming up. That movie this week seems to be in more rocky terrain because we lost our actor for Century, and we have not confirmed a new one, though there's some fan speculation and some stuff like that out there. Florence Pugh came out and said that this movie's production is in such rough shape that she's not even confident that it'll be released. Granted, she's not making the movie or anything. That's just a perspective of one of the actresses in the movie. She's like the primary star of the movie. She's one of the front runners of the film.
But and didn't she state too, like right after this, she's going back to filming it and that. So, because that was the same interview.
It better be filming because when it comes out versus
because she stated in that interview.
This is like this movie is a prime example of what so many people who've worked for the MCU Disney stuff lately have always complained about. Like this is like guerrilla filming, and it makes no sense because these are supposed to be planned out years in advance, the story narrative thing, this and that. But we're writing scripts on set. We're changing things on set. We're losing
Florence Pugh stated in that interview. She was saying like the production had to be halted due to the strikes and stuff, and now she has to, after she's done with press releases and that, they're going back to filming it, and that was in the same interview.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was talking about the state of the film, not like actively being in front of a camera. She was talking about the actual state of the film, and the fact that she's going back to film a movie that's not even fully casted at that point is kind of lends to what I assume some of the stuff she's talking about. Can you imagine saying, I'm leaving this press run and going back to filming knowing that you don't even have a full cast? That's It's the Marvel method. The current
that's the way Stan Lee wrote all his comic books.
Yeah, I was thinking it's a little different when you make movies. Speaking of the Disney way of doing things, the Disney way of doing things has ran a lot of Star Wars away from the franchise. We've had a few gems in an otherwise black sea, but Ahsoka was really fun. The first 2 Mandalorians were fun. You know, they announced that Mandalorian in a child movie. Don't really care. I lost all faith in the Mandalorian stuff, to be honest with you guys. I hope it's good, but it doesn't give me that excitement like watching that Daredevil trailer, the Planet of the Apes trailer, the Dune trailer, the Godzilla Kong trailer. There's no excitement in there. It's more just like we'll see what happens kind of thing. Disney had the wonderful idea, and it's not the first time that Lucasfilms has done this, but they announced they are re-releasing in cinema the Phantom Menace. So when your new stuff fails you, fall back on what works. And I'm excited because if my schedule permits, I am going to get a bucket of popcorn, overpriced drink, and I'm going to sit down and listen to the pod races with that IMAX surround sound. I cannot wait for that. I hope it gets to happen. But yeah, I'm excited for the idea of bringing the original trilogy back to the silver screen the prequel trilogy back, because the original trilogy has had that treatment already. Even which one did they do? They did the Phantom Menace in 3D about a decade ago.
Right.
They put it back in cinemas in 3D in case you missed out. They didn't even put episode 2 or 3 out. It didn't perform like they wanted it to during the 3D craze, so they did one and scrapped the idea. But that'll be May 3rd, 2024, the Phantom Menace.
And you know what? In some ways, it also kind of makes sense because we're at least probably a year and a half, if not 2 years, away from any new Star Wars movies coming to the big screen. So
it's going to be a while.
And you know, Filoni's new direction with like his movies are going to be directly off of those, more so those than the original 3. So
yeah,
it's better to get.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it. Yeah, go ahead. Never mind. I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, like him doing that, I guarantee you we're going to have this era with tons of haters. I'm not even going to say they're wrong for it. Tons of haters that want Star Wars. And with Filoni, he's really playing to a new audience. When I say, I don't mean brand new. He's playing to the audience that he has that trusts in him. And it's just going to have to build from that point. Like the original trilogy purists, they're done. You have the original trilogy, that's it. Then I'm of the next breed. Like I love the prequels. You know, a lot of people hated those when they came out. I was at the right age for them. That I grew up cherishing them. I love the prequels, and now I don't really like the new stuff. And it looks like that's going to be the pattern. So give it another 20 years from now, and people will be praising Disney's Boba Fett show. Who knows? I doubt that one, but who knows? Another big thing that I saw. You saw where the Blue Beetle, star of Blue Beetle, who actually played Jaime Reyes, did an interview?
I did not.
They did an interview, and he stated that he will for certain be back in James Gunn's DCU.
Nice. I know that this week they have I believe it's the first table read going on this week of Superman Legacy.
It's coming together like butt cheeks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Coming together like butt cheeks.
It's going to be amazing.
Episode 1 is incredible. Boba Fett show was great. You're aggressively relaxed. I know you're an eternal optimistic for this stuff, but you're put the paint can down, buddy. The fumes.
I think what he meant to say was that there was one episode of the Boba Fett show that was great.
The Mandalorian episode.
The Mandalorian episode.
I was not a prequel fan. Got hyped, and they killed the best character in episode 1. I would argue the best character died in episode 2. Hashtag justice for Jango. Yo, I love Jango Fett. That dude is a boss. It would be dumb not to bring him back. Blue Beetle was so good. Yeah. And they didn't directly connect it to any specific movies or versions of characters. So, yep.
All they did was like mention a few heroes, but not like it could be the James Gunn's Batman. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited.
Maul didn't die more in the books. He also popped back up. He didn't die primarily because Filoni. Well, in the comics before Filoni ever got a hold of him, they did that weird Stygian witches story where Vader, like the Emperor was questioning Vader's like like his hatefulness and sent him to these witches, and they brought Darth Maul back from the dead, like legit, to fight Vader to see who was really like worthy to be the apprentice of the Emperor. And when Vader got him with that death strike, you know, and Maul's like, "How could this be? How could you hate any? What could you possibly hate more than I do?" And Vader's like, "Myself," and then finishes him off. So he's died twice.
He came.
He
Maul came back to. He ended up being the leader of Crimson something. I can't remember the rest of it, but.
And then his brother popped up at the end of the Han Solo movie, right? Or was that actually him? The after credits to the Han Solo movie.
No, that was him.
Darth Maul. Yeah, Darth Maul came back in the movies then.
And but he died. So he did get killed and then got brought back in the cartoon and then died. He was killed later on by Obi-Wan. He had a last fight with Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan killed him again.
Oh, episode 2 is see this, like, I don't expect anyone else to hold this opinion, Scotty, but it is my favorite slice of Star Wars media that exists. It's it for me. Episode 2. That's the only, if they said, I'll give you one Star Wars anything to own, and this is all you get to watch for the rest of your life. You don't have to watch it nonstop, but when you want to watch Star Wars, this will be all you get. I'm taking episode 2, 10 out of 10 times. Well, 9 out of 10. I'll take episode 3. Because that Mustafar fight, my God.
Peacemaker 2. Well, speaking of Peacemaker 2, James Gunn has also said that he will explain in Peacemaker 2 why you saw the Zack Snyder Justice League at the end of Peacemaker Season 1, but now you're going to have a different Justice League in Peacemaker 2.
And he also confirmed what cast members you can see in Peacemaker 2. He confirmed Harcourt, Diebeard, and Adebayo will all 3 be back directly for number 2. Empire is the best my generation. Irvin Kershner, yeah, everyone says Empire. I love it too. Boom, 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 boom. All right, y'all got anything else news wise y'all want to touch on? I mean, this one kind of like dabbles on both. Ultimate Marvel is kicking off in full steam. The second installment to the brand new Ultimate Universe dropped this week with Ultimate Black Panther. And of course, because of the hype and everything with the Spider-Man one, it transferred right over to Black Panther. And on top of that, there was an article that went out on Wednesday when these were supposed to be able to be bought off shelves that we lost a truck and we lost thousands of copies of it. So this book went scarce. I haven't checked its eBay price right now, but the day of release, it was going between $25 to $40, just like Spider-Man 1 was. I couldn't finish it. I tried to read this. I like my Black Panther to hold true and be proud of the tradition and values of Wakanda and not like Jumpstart was saying, we need to change this place. Old traditions, all blah, blah. Like, that's kind of the character. I know you're supposed to change some stuff. Like, you don't piss on the core of the character right off rip. I don't care. I wasn't really that big into it anyways. I wanted to pick up a copy of what I knew would be a hard to get spec book and throw it into the Legion loot for channel members. It seems like there's going to be a lot of really cool like FOMO books, which are fun. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. If you can get FOMO books for cover price, it's fun. Like, yeah, I got one. I don't feel like I got left out. So there's going to be packed with exclusives. You got some really cool FOMO books in there, like Ultimate Spider-Man 1's in there, Ultimate Black Panther's in there this month.
Yeah, and they're also setting up, again, I'm not a big Marvel fan, but I did get that, but they're, oh, nice. But they also are setting up the introduction of Moon Knight in that as well.
And Storm.
Yep.
And Storm was in there. Killmonger was in there. Killmonger looked cool. Yep. Some cool stuff. Another one that I'll just kind of mention in passing here. Record sales, not record quality. Thundercats #1 dropped this week. I wanted to get a copy of the Liefeld cover because I'm a big Liefeld fan. Yes, sir. So I grabbed it. I started reading it. I'm like, this is garbage. Like, if you love Thundercats, like maybe it's just like anything will do kind of. There's plenty of stuff out there like where I just love the property so much that anything like scratches an itch.
Okay.
I don't like Thundercats enough for that to work with me.
Yeah, I felt like they were trying to capitalize on the whole Transformers thing, and that's what they were trying to do.
Hotel riding.
But then I flipped to the back. Do you know how many different covers there were?
Oh, did you count them?
Yeah.
I did not. I didn't flip that far. I didn't make it
There
that
were
far.
with all of the different covers they have, including the retailer cover, there were 124 covers that you could get.
Holy potatoes! They beat Last Ronin, bro.
There were 124 covers that you could buy if you got all the retailers and everything else.
There's another page.
Yeah.
Where'd my man Jang hit? Let's see it. Let's see the Miko, the Bjorn Barons. Yo, did Jang get page 1?
I guarantee you a lot of people bought those too. Because didn't it like have like record-breaking pre-sales?
Yeah, everyone. Well, yeah, there we go. Yo, this isn't even all the covers because a lot of these they're showing the trade dress virgin. There's the John Jang with only the trade dress, which I know there's a virgin as well because I got both of them. Oh, never mind. It's down here. Never mind. I was about, whew.
Okay.
So he made page 1. That's awesome. My boy John Jang. So I didn't make it to there. So I made it a couple pages into this. I'm like, this is exactly what I expected. You know, like the hitting on the 80s property stuff is really popular right now. This is what is it, the Gargoyles? That's 90s, but Transformers and G.I. Joe had the breath of fresh air put into them with top tier talent and creators. They didn't do the same thing. The art in this is I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's terrible. It's bland. It's boring. It's just not unique enough. It's just like let me get this page. Like what are we looking at here? Like really, like but I guarantee you the sales of issue number 4 of this will be damn near non-existent. You know, it's always a projected 50% drop from 1 to 2. Probably bigger on this one being how many were ordered for number 1, but the Liefeld cover is still sick. I enjoyed it. And then we saw that the best part of this whole thing was this ad that I saw in the back. I shared it out on my Instagram immediately. David Pepos, the writer of Scout's Honor, writer of the new Punisher, and all kinds of independent stuff is taking on the man himself. Space Ghost is getting a brand new series. Comes out this May. I'll be definitely jumping on that one.
Which is surprising because Warner Brothers was doing all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. But now it's Dynamite. So
yeah, Dynamite keeps getting licensed properties from other companies, which is a great way for companies to just get free money. Like they're taking all the risk. Give us some money to rent it. You take all the risk. Everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. I think that's smart. Book that I didn't read, Godzilla Valentine's Day one. I'll flip through it. Like I mentioned before, I want to see who Godzilla mates with on Valentine's Day. I want to see like the little Godzilla Mothra wings. But if that's not in there, I'm let down. But I always read these and give them to the kids. They love Godzilla comics. It actually gets them sitting down, flipping through books and stuff. So that was a good one. TM, what was something you read this week that you thoroughly enjoyed?
I enjoyed Birds of Prey, issue number 6. It's they ended this story arc. So the Magrada, whoever's trying to capture Sin, and that they're fighting, they're connected now, and Sin's just like has Magrada connected with the lasso, and they're connected right now, and says like, listen, we're gonna die. They're going to send us both away because this is the only way that they can save us or get rid of you. So they're going to get rid of me with you. And that, do you trust me? Do you want me to be in control? And they won't touch you. So Magrada loses all control and says, yes, take control. So Sin now has control of this beast of a god in that. And by the end of it, Wonder Woman grabs hold of like the Sin Magrada and says, let me talk to the god. All right, it's like, will you look after this girl? Yes, and you obey this girl now. And she's like, yes, I obey. All right, and Wonder Woman's like, I'll be watching, and if you mess up, I'll kill you. So, I like how they even said that. She's like, Wonder Woman's swearing now. Cool. But that ended that story arc, and then we cut to a scene with Black Canary and Barbara Batgirl, and it's like, why didn't you let me come with you to save Sin. I wanted to help you in that. And turns out that there was a reason why she didn't go there. There was a prediction that every time that Barbara was to go with them to there, she would die. And it just didn't make sense. So they like looked into it a little bit more and seeing that somebody is targeting Barbara Gordon. So that leads us into the next story arc of who's targeting Barbara Gordon, why is there targeting, and now there's going to be a brand new team. So we're going to have, of course, Black Canary, and still Cassandra Cain's Batgirl, but we're going to have a whole new roster of team. So Zealot, Barda, they're not part of the team anymore. They did their mission. They were there for a reason. I did like this one scene, though, where because of Zealot's power in that she tried to make Magrita like release from Sin. And since like at the beginning, there was like this whole ritual that Zealot did where it said like she can't kill anybody or be killed. So she tries to like put a sword right through Sin and make Magrita think like that she was die and expel from her, but she didn't do it. But it was like a rough scene to go through. You just seen it go through it, and Black Canary didn't know what was going on, and she's like screaming in the background. But yeah, it was a wild fun
ongoing series.
I think so, because there's going to be a new story arc because there is a next. I don't know how many issues, but as far as I know, it's an ongoing series. It could be just 12, but I'm not sure.
Yes, that Zealot. Yeah, all the Wildcat characters are in modern DC books, and bigger roles and smaller roles are popping up here and there. The last time we saw Maul was in Jeremy Adams' Flash run during the Cosmic Wrestler that popped over. That was awesome.
Who's coming back in Green Lantern?
Yeah, he's coming back. Paul, what was one that you enjoyed from this week?
It's a Marvel book.
Mace Windu issue number 1, brand new series. TM was excited about that one. I didn't pick it up. Tell me about it.
It starts off. It's a very quick read. It basically starts off with just what you would think with a Star Wars movie. You know, it shows Mace Windu being. Let me go back. This goes back to before he was actually on the Jedi Council. He was still an apprentice of Yoda. So it starts off with Mace Windu being a badass, doing Jedi things, basically, to get away from some people. And then we cut to there is a new form of coaxium. Coaxium Ultra is what it's called, which is something that makes ships fly even faster and go through portals even faster and things like that. So, but there is a problem on the planet where it's mined, and so he has to go there. Basically, there is a person that is there that is basically doing some nasty things. So he gets sent there to try to solve the problem. He meets up with her at the end of the issue, and that's basically where we get set up for the next issue. So it's not a lot to the plot, but if you like Star Wars and you like Mace Windu, I think you would probably like this. Although I kind of wish that, like I said, that it had more meat to it.
Yeah, there's only three big characters, which is Mace Windu, Yoda, and then that girl that Mace Windu's after. Like they called the Jedi for help. Other characters are just random characters. And it's very fast paced. I think it's faster than Superman 78 this week.
That's scary. Because that was those issues go by in like a blink.
It's faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Would y'all recommend that people go out and pick up Mace Windu number 1 just based off what you read with issue number 1? Can't miss this, guys. Go check out Mace Windu number 1.
No.
I'm interested in where it goes most definitely.
Oh, I didn't ask that. I just asked, is it like, guys, you got to go check this out?
No. It's not going to set the Star Wars world on fire. That's what I would say.
Who's writing it?
But Mark Bernard, and that's why I want people to go read it. I like Mark.
I like you too. I'll tell you one that if you are in any way, shape, fashion, or form a Power Rangers fan, whether it be now or as a kid, if you connected with the original Power Rangers team on any level whatsoever, you have to go out and read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return, written by Pink Ranger herself, Amy Jo Johnson. I cannot stress enough how freaking good this was, how emotional this was. You know, Amy Jo Johnson and the entire cast of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were extremely close for years. You know, they're not unfortunate, tragic child stars, but they have faced tragedy as a group of friends. You have the Yellow Ranger, the original actress who played Trini, died tragically in a car accident early on. You had Jason David Frank pass away last year, surprisingly. And this story, it's almost like Amy Jo Johnson is getting out the emotions attached to all of this. And the story is very interesting. It's not canon connected to anything. Just picture those three seasons that we got, and then we go into this. Years down the road, it starts off with us seeing a Red Ranger. Rita and Zed are defeated. The Ranger's not needed anymore. And it cuts to that kind of like the scene in The Matrix when it opens and Trinity's running and she jumps from one building through the window and she's laying there looking up at the window just with the gun pointed, just waiting, telling herself, get up, Trinity. And kind of get that scene, but with the Red Ranger, but somebody comes for him, seemingly takes him. Cut to Angel Grove in modern day. Billy's the mayor. They're honoring their friend Trini, who was the best mayor and delegate that Angel Grove had ever knew. She's passed away now. Zach is known for being a Power Ranger, the Black Ranger. He's kind of he's a retired Ranger, but he's very famous for it. He made a statement years ago, apparently, that the other Rangers were from other parts of the world to protect everyone else's anonymity. And Kimberly is kind of a recluse even to them. Zach talks her into coming to dinner with her and Billy. They're talking about how Billy's using morphing grid energy for high-tech stuff to better the world with clean energy, and Zach is this and that with it, and Kimberly thinks it's wrong for them to be tapping into the morphing grid because they said that they wouldn't, and they were kind of talking to her because something else has been tapping in, and they wanted to ask her if it was her because they knew Jason had been actually morphing as the Red Ranger because he couldn't stand by and do nothing. He needed to help people. He wanted this, and it escalated to that's all he was doing. He even reached out and asked them for their coins so he could say morphed all the time, but now he's gone missing, and we need to go out and find him. It's confirmed that Tommy Oliver's character is dead. Kimberly visits his grave, which was heartbreaking because this is the first time that he's been represented as passed away in the books since he died in real life. Keep in mind, Trini's still alive in the books even, you know what I mean? So it was you can see the real life Amy Jo Johnson's grief on the pages of this book. And it was rough getting through. And at the end of it, Kimberly Hart doesn't even go by Kimberly Hart. She's trying to say that far off the grid. Someone comes knocking at her door out in her cabin in the woods kind of thing. And it's this young Asian girl who says, Kimberly Hart. She goes, no, my name is Emma, blah, blah, blah. She goes, no, you're Kimberly Hart. You're my mom's best friend. And then she holds out her other hand with her mom's power coin. She goes, and you're going to train me to be the new Yellow Ranger. I'm like, yes, that like sense of let's go, get off your moping wagon, like the sense of legacy that's attached to all things Power Rangers. Like, dude, the Cliff said it was heartbreaking. Yes, it was so good. I cannot wait for issue 2. Normally I just breeze over Power Ranger stuff here, but this is go out and get it good. Like it legitimately is. Sorry to harp on Power Ranger stuff, but I'm excited to see that Cliff picked it up. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger. Hey, I got that book. Suicide Squad, Kill Arkham Asylum.
You didn't get the Steve Beach cover?
Of course I got the Steve Beach cover. What are you talking about? It's right here.
Oh, nice.
Hey! I love Steve Beach.
Yes, this is the game prequel.
Correct. Yeah, it was pretty solid. So game prequel, it carries on the Arkham what was it? Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knights, Arkham Origins, Arkham City, whatever the games are called. The finale to the Arkham video game universe ended with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I can only assume that they wanted to kill that game universe because we know that the game stuff moving forward per the DCU announcement is going to be more in line with like the movies and stuff. But this is the prequel to that video game, and the team's already assembled in the game. But you get to see how they get assembled in this. Amanda Waller and Argus took control of Arkham, rebuilt it with their funds, and Amanda Waller decided to unlock all the cell doors and let them all fight to the death, and those that remain will be my team. There's a lot more to it, getting to see the dynamic of James Gordon with Batman and Waller criticizing each other and their jobs and everything. You also get to see King Shark bite the head off of Victor Zsasz, which was fantastic, the Steve Beach cover.
Yes. And Batman's a badass even still in here too. It's like Waller's like, you'll never get into my Arkham. Like he just keeps showing up.
Yeah, just popping up. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool seeing how the little details of how Amanda Waller's intentionally creating a powder keg just for when she needs it. She tortures people in there, keeps the thermostat too high, and just make sure she doesn't clean anything. Like just anything you can do just to keep everyone on wit's end. But it was a super wordy issue, but it served a good purpose. I feel like it's going to be going 100 miles an hour from here. This Suicide Squad book is way better than no Suicide Squad book. Like I said earlier, sometimes you give me anything and it scratches the itch.
Dream Team's not that far away.
That's what I'm waiting for.
What is it?
So
Dream Team. Oh yeah.
The Dream Team's not that far away.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun read, I'm sure. And I'm just reading it like an Elseworlds, because it's the video game universe.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty cool. I'm not a Bat fan. That's very apparent from your comments on McFarlane's website. It's pretty funny. He saturates so much, but a fan film Dying is Easy on YouTube was wicked. Yeah, Kevin Porter is looks great in the costume. Kevin Porter is also going to be Space Ghost in an upcoming fan film production as well. Dream Team I'm looking forward to, but only because of Nicole Maines.
Nicole Maines is the girl who played Dreamer on the CW's Supergirl show. Yeah, I'm pumped for that one too. Also,
I got high hopes for anything Suicide Squad.
In that Suicide Squad book, did they use guns, like laser guns, or did they use their actual weapons?
And what book?
The book that you read. Did they have their weapons?
They ain't even got their hands on weapons yet, bro.
Right.
Okay.
This book is just like they just got like page 1, like it tells you Arkham just got rebuilt from getting destroyed in other video games story, I guess. And they're rolling in the inmates kind of thing. And then toward the end of the book, we kind of do a 3-month jump to where the Justice League are missing. The big crisis is happening, which I guess is the coming of Brainiac in the game. And since the Justice League's gone, we need Task Force X. Open the doors. I'm like, okay. Speaking of CW, they are not doing any more American scripted shows. They are buying and showing more Canadian shows. Oh, we did get an article on Superman and Lois final season this past week as well. That she pretty much stated that we're going balls to the wall with what we got.
Yep.
The actress who plays Lois or whatever.
Yeah, they started filming. So that was actually, I think it was last week.
The comic is a continuation of the true ending of Arkham Knight video game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is pretty much got a lot of hate right now. I've watched the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video game story, watched people play it to get the story out of it. And people were split on it because they didn't like the idea that in this video game story verse that they've been following for years through the lens of Batman, that they brought in the Suicide Squad to literally kill the Justice League. And that's how it ended. Like the suicide, like Harley puts a gun right in front of Batman's head and just kills him in point blank range. And like Flash gets killed by a bullet. Like they literally kill the Justice League, seemingly killing the Arkham verse a la Suicide Squad, which makes a little more sense than no sense, because one thing that is also canon to the Arkhamverse is Batman Arkham Asylum, the DCU film that took place with you remember that animated film where Batman goes into Arkham Asylum?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's actually canon to the video game verse, so it's not his
Assault
first.
on Arkham, I think it's called, right?
Assault on
Yeah,
Arkham.
Assault
that
on
one was
Arkham,
good.
which was fantastic. But even so, that movie is also connected with Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, which because like they are though because they have continuations from that from those movies. They're just like, oh, that guy died from that one.
Assault on Arkham is standalone. Hell to Pay is a direct follow-up to Flashpoint.
I know, but they have direct ties to the Assault on Arkham.
Well, there's going to be aspects of them that are canon through all of it that they don't move away from. But that was one of the standalone ones that they did. If memories, it was literally a video game universe.
It was supposed to be, but it still had ties to it, which I picked up on while watching it. But yeah, it is a continuation of the Flashpoint movie.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, Hell to Pay was awesome. That one was freaking awesome. They're all DC, hence connected. Yeah, some way, somewhere, somehow. One that I thought was fantastic, and I hate to see it go, was Exo Manowar Unconquered issue number 6. Becky Cloonan, Liam Sharp's beautiful, epic Exo Manowar miniseries wrapped up this week. Of course, it wrapped up just like you'd expect. He kicked some ass. He didn't take names. He left nothing to be remembered by of the Roman Legion army that he was battling. But it did have a little like to be continued style ending and an announcement that a second volume or another volume of Exo with a different undertitle, another little miniseries is coming in a couple of months. So that's exciting. I'll be picking that up and following the further adventures of Exo now that Alien Publishing has picked it up. What else you got this week, TM?
Oh, Superman 78. Is that a quick read? Definitely a quick read, but not as quick as Mace Windu, but still a quick read, and it was pretty good. I liked the story arc that they went with and that, and how easily Metallo was defeated by just like, oh, you just need to turn him around, hit a button, and you're good. But it needed the help of none other than Lex Luthor to come in and help Superman. And by the end of it, he says, you know what? We need to, you know what? You're right, Lex. We need to team up. I need to take advice from you.
He said we need to talk, but do you remember how Lex helped Superman in the fight against Metallo?
Oh, the frequency that only he can hear.
No, the armor that Metallo is wearing had a kill switch in it that Lex knew about because that's not Metallo. That is a Russian in Lex Luthor's power armor. Called it with the cover of issue 1. Called it. I said, that looks like Lex Luthor's battle armor. And it was. It is Metallo in the 78 universe, but that was a cool little twist that Metallo is just stolen Lex Luthor battle armor. I'm like, yo, that's super duper cool. I thought that was a great little twist. I'm excited that Gene Hackman is back, and we're going to be seeing what's going on with him. Paul, did you read it?
I have not yet. Nope.
Well, we just ruined it for you. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Did you read Shazam this week, either one of y'all?
I did.
What did you think?
I'm not reading Shazam.
I think that Mark Waid has gotten more mileage out of spacefaring dinosaurs than a person has a right to do.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're over with those as well.
Right, exactly. Not only spacefaring dinosaurs, but spacefaring auditing dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, this was kind of a beat to death aspect of these 8 issues. Is in the background, we've had this alien race dinosaurs that are big fans of paperwork. They're literally just cosmic auditors, and their paperwork only matters to themselves. But they just go around pestering. If you speak to them, they need you to fill out a form about having contact with them. And then if you refuse to do that, they need you to fill out the refusal form about the other. You know what I mean? Like it just became annoying. I'm glad that it was never the forefront of any story, but them being in there and when they pop in, it wasn't servicing the story. It was too much camp. There was something they could have did with that first issue and let it alone. It feels like it's a gimmick that they were trying to do just to set this book apart, to give it that kind of that weirder sense. You know, we've been on the moon with the alien races. We've seen cosmic auditing dinosaurs, and all of these things have really been like the backdrop of the actual story that we've been getting. And the actual story in this is Billy now has the wisdom of Solomon for the first time in a long time, and he's trying to see things, and now they see things in a different light, trying to move differently. You know, his family's counting on him, and his rash actions has cost his family dearly, their home and stuff like that. And just kind of seeing how he moves with that new wisdom is something that I'm more interested in wasting page time getting rid of the dinosaur auditing things.
Yeah,
I'm
and as much as I
on
like
this time.
Mark Waid, I also thought that the resolution was kind of, they've been around for 8 issues, and how does he get rid of them? He basically has the little girl just keep asking why.
Why, Darla?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, this wasn't my favorite issue whatsoever. Out of all of them, probably my least favorite issue because it had the most dinosaur auditors in there. But I tell you what, that first arc overall was fantastic. I don't feel like we found our footing in this arc yet. I don't feel like we've started a second arc story. We've had just like 2 issues of just like day in the life of. That last issue was a fight with Black Adam just to serve the purpose of seeing that his house got destroyed. And this one, we didn't even spend much time watching him try to find a resolution to that, though we did get the house rebuilt. It was just maybe this is like one of those 2-issue layovers you get between arcs. It just didn't get named that like we normally get like a substitute artist in or something like that to kind of make it apparent, but no. So no, it did have a substitute artist, didn't it?
It did, and it was also kind of a bait and switch from the last episode because we were promised Black Adam versus Shazam. It seems like, and then that didn't really happen. So
yeah, it happened in the last issue, and then it was over with. He actually enlisted the help of Black Adam to rebuild his house in this issue, but. Anyways, another one that I wasn't exactly ecstatic with was Kneel Before Zod, issue number 2. This promises to be the most brutal, wild book of the year, and this issue was a snooze fest. Zod, I want to just get candid. Zod's a pussy. Ursa doesn't respect him. People are encroaching on his planet, and he's not just stomping them out with violence, and Ursa chumps him off, spits in his grits, and makes him kneel before her, and that's how it ends. I said it on my new DC Day live stream. This better be a quick turn to a Savage Zod, or this is a waste of a Zod book. Paul filled me in on a spoiler. This is purely speculation spoiler that he's about to tell you. I'm going to preface that, but it could happen in the next issue. If you don't even want to know, cover your ears for the next 20 seconds. Paul, what's happening in issue 3? Paul's frozen. Apparently, in issue 3, Zod is supposed to snap and kill Ursa and go ham. So maybe it's just a slow start to a would-be wild series. And, you know, issue 1 serviced getting Zod's son, like, excommunicated from his planet. We know that he'll be appearing in Sinister Sons with Sinestro's kids. So this book seems to be servicing Sinister Sons, and if he does in fact snap and kill Ursa, it's supposed to be the catalyst for what's coming in the Superman event. Like we had a Titans event, we've had like other little small events. We're supposed to be getting like a Zod Superman event or something coming soon.
Well, the event is supposed to be next year's event. This year's event is the House of Brainiac for Superman. Next year's event is supposed to, because this is a 12-issue miniseries. Or maxi series, Kneel Before Zod. So supposedly this killing of Ursa is supposed to be the springboard for what's going to happen in the rest of the series, obviously, but then also for the 2025 Superman event.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
It's fun watching you guys just be like,
yeah. I only got 2 more books. How many do y'all have that y'all picked up this week?
I just have 1 more.
I have 0 now because I haven't read that Zod one yet.
Well, real quick, I'll go and let everyone know that Joker Year 1 kicked off this week. It's a 3-issue little story. It'll come out every week. This week, next week, the following week, in and out. This is so complex, touching on so many different things, from Chip Zdarsky's work on Batman to way back to The Killing Joke. This actually is a brain twister. Me and Paul did a full DC deep dive on this, and there's no way to really get into this book and give it any justice unless you spend some time doing it. We got like a 15-minute video going through all of it that'll come out tomorrow on his channel. Be sure to subscribe to him so you don't miss those. They come out every Monday at 10 a.m. And And I'll go let you know now, I don't know if I like it or not. The way that this is written, the way that this is built up, it leaves you having to have more to even formulate an opinion on what he's doing yet. So it's yet to be determined if this Joker year one story will service the character of the Joker or take away from him. It's touchy with the Joker. There's certain aspects. He's a unique character that you don't want. You don't want to know his real name. You don't want to know a definitive this. You don't. That's what makes the character. So it's a little dicey going into it. We'll see. Cliff said that Zod's mental state is certainly a factor here. I don't want him killing Ursa, but he's supposed to be super crazy. The way that she talked to him, I want to see him rip her head off. I'm not even gonna lie. That was. I mean, I'm slap the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they are like this whole like superiority mentality with their whole military stuff. Aren't there 3 Jokers? Mobius Chair stated. That was also so many years ago. We're not living under those continuity guidelines. Things have been altered. Universes have been reshaped. Events kind of thing. That being said, yes, there's 3 Jokers. Yes, we got in Chip Zdarsky's run the definitive reason why there's 3 Jokers. In this book right here, they touch on 3 Jokers and put more definitive stamps and things. If you're interested in 3 Jokers stuff, you might want to pick up these 3 issues. That's probably the most interesting aspect for me. The fact that Jeff Johns reminded us not long ago that we're not forgetting about 3 Jokers, and Chip Zdarsky's like, let's do it. They're here. Can't ignore them.
Yeah, and originally he and Jason Fabok were supposed to do a sequel to the 3 Jokers, but they're doing something else from what I've heard.
Someone else do a sequel to 3 Jokers. They're busy.
Yeah.
They are busy. The last book that I picked up was Wolverine Madripoor Nights. This is actually written by Chris Claremont. This is one of the Marvel retro titles. It goes back to Uncanny 233, that famous Jim Lee cover with Captain America, Black Widow, and Wolverine on it. And they're telling another story in Madripoor from that time era. So it's a great team up. Really, really cool action in this. It felt good. It moved fast. It's just them getting into a fight and deciding we all got business here in Madripoor, Cap specifically, and he's asking, hey guys, we worked together well before. Can we do it again? And Wolverine's like, schnick, yeah. So it was fun. I was glad I picked it up. I'm going to definitely continue reading that one as well. So that's all I got comic wise. There's a lot of news, the Argylle stuff. I appreciate everybody coming and watching. TM, where you at and who you got guessing on Between the Lines tomorrow?
Tomorrow, it's over at Geek Out with Roscoe's channel. It'll be Chalk Girl joining us. Before that, Chatting with the Comic Community, episode 84 will drop tomorrow. It'll be Tony from Comicverse. I recorded with him earlier today, so it's uploading now for members. If you're a member of the channel, you'll get those really early starting next week. Like they'll be, because I'll be recording them weekly. And then no tomorrow tonight this week. I'm gonna take a night off, Valentine's Day. But this week I will be over on a certain person's channel this Wednesday for Valentine's Day because he is going to be my Valentine.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice.
I'll be over to Guess That Key.
Paul?
Yes.
When Guess That Key? And who else is going to be there?
If you liked seeing these 3 faces tonight, you can see all of them again on Wednesday night at 9:30 on my channel for Guess That Key. We will also have, as our 4th box, we will have The Godfather, Brian LCS.
Nice.
So he will be with us, making his first appearance there. So, as Mark alluded to before, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we will have episode number 77 of DC Comics Deep Dive, where we will talk about Joker Year 1, Issue number 1 from Batman number 142. So
it's going to be a great episode of Guess That Key. I've been sitting on a package for a while. I opened it today. If you're a channel member, if you're one of the Legionnaires, there's plenty of content to check out. I have vlog number 4 up, and there's all kinds of cool stuff in there, from doing some unboxings to I got the remote controlled Godzilla from New Empire, and me and the kids get it out and get it playing with that bad boy. I got a mail call with an AOK from the Adventurous Joe, who's been in the chat with us tonight, that has been available for channel members. It'll release Monday. And I am sitting on content for the week after that, just waiting to release it. My hands are tied thanks to Guess That Key. So it'll make future content will make its first appearance on Guess That Key this Wednesday. Starts at 9:30. And I went to a small con today. It was a local vendor who does the Southeast. He's here. And when he doesn't have a show on the weekend, he'll open up his garage set up. And I picked up some really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff. As early as the Golden Age. So there'll be some Golden Age stuff coming, some Silver Age stuff coming, some really cool stuff. I'm excited to get it shared out there, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. I don't want to ruin the surprise. So be sure to be on the lookout. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And I'll see everybody this Tuesday at 2 p.m. for New DC Day.
I forgot to mention, I'll also be over at Cliff's show, Crisis Quest, this Thursday night.
Who's winning this month?
It is Tony is in first. I'm in second.
Are we on the third month, or is this still the second? Because I know, like, he did like a group of us for 1 month, and then
it's a new month right now. This past Thursday, it was the new month.
Who won season 2 or month 2?
Brother John.
Hell yeah, bringing it home for the home team. Legionnaires are killing it. And Tony from Comicx is winning right now.
Yeah, he won. He's currently winning, and I'm in second. And I forget who. Like, I know Kyle's there, but Kyle was having difficulties. Wheelchair superhero. So he was having difficulties. Who else was there?
Wasn't Esteban on there too?
Yeah, Esteban as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
Sam is the third.
What's Sam's screen name?
30. Sam is like the lead from the Council of Comicx.
Got you. That Sam. Yeah. Wow, y'all are dusting Sam. Do work. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out. I hope like I said earlier, I hope everyone's team wins the Super Bowl tonight. And I look forward to seeing everybody.
It's tied going into overtime, so maybe you're right. Maybe both teams will win. Maybe
I should have bet on both of them. Can never lose when you do that. Well, that's not true because of odds and stuff, but
right.
But I hope everyone has a great night. And yeah, Monkey Man does look awesome. That Red Band trailer came out a couple of weeks ago. It's Dev Patel and Jordan Peele producing that one. It looks amazing, like legitimately amazing. If you're just seeing the trailer, look up the Red Band trailer for it, man. Like, holy crap.
That's not my kind of movie.
You don't like John Wick movies? It's like John Wick in India.
I've only seen one John Wick movie.
Which one?
The first one.
It's a good one. Skip the fourth one. It's very overhyped. Watch Equalizer 3 instead. I watched that recently. Holy potatoes. That was so good. Like, yeah. Equalizer films with Denzel. So freaking good. All three of them. Hindi John Wick. I looked up Red Band. Nice. Yeah, that Red Band trailer. Sick. Yeah, I didn't know if you were showing it during the Super Bowl or whatnot. But, all right, that's going to be it, guys. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. This show was definitely, I'd say it was a banger. Appreciate everybody coming. And until next time, we are Legion.